All right. Hello, good evening, everyone. It's good to see every one of you guys here again on a Friday evening in our Leading in Crisis session. Okay, so for those in the Zoom calls, I'm so happy to see you guys. There's so many familiar faces, no faces, but there's so many familiar names. And for you guys who are on Facebook, right, I just want to let you guys know that this session will be on Facebook for only 15 minutes. And then if you want to continue this session, you got to come to our Zoom call. So today, what we're going to discuss is we are going to discuss about B2B selling. Okay. As I saw that there's around 60 plus of you guys who registered for today's session, I also noticed that some of you guys are actually in B2C business. So I was actually wondering, what actually made you sign up for this session today, right? So I just want to be very clear, right? So that you guys know what we are going to discuss today is going to be about the 5 proven steps to help you guys win more clients for B2B sales, okay? So as you guys are investing your time, and I want to make sure that I'm able to speak the right language to you guys. So what I've actually arranged for this early part of the session is I want to get to know you guys better first, okay? So what I would love you guys to be able to do, all of you guys in Zoom calls, okay? I would like you to share on the chat, type on the chat, your name, your company, what do you do, and then who do you serve, all right? So from here, I'm able to get your business better so that I know how to craft this entire training or this entire session to be able to better serve you. All right. So I give you an example. So what you can, if I were to use the same format, I will be typing on the chat. Hi, I'm Jonathan Quack from Owner Circle. I run a business academy serving, helping small, medium business owners. All right. So all of you guys who are on Zoom calls, please type on the chat now, okay, so that I know what you do and who do you serve. All right, so we have Henry from VAS, all right, it's a consumer intelligence platform. Hi, Henry, okay. I'm going to give you guys some time, right, as you guys are typing. Okay, good. So you guys are typing right now. Besides Henry, you have Adrian from Kenyan. Adrian is my publisher to help me release my best-selling book around 5 years ago. Yeah, I think it's more than 5 years already. It's around 7, 8 years, right? Yeah, so if you guys see all these best-selling books in MPH popular bookstores, it's all made possible by Adrian. Okay, so we have Ken from, Thai, right? Remember you. Noes, Quick Wave Consulting, outsource marketer, all right, okay, B2B, okay, very clear. Henry, right, serving, okay, you're serving companies who are doing B2C, right? So it's also B2B business, okay. Belve, yes, remember you, okay, from Flying Zebra, corporate gifts, okay. Okay, Stuart, definitely this. This is a kitchen, right, and bath countertop surface. Right, okay. So your customers are definitely the building and construction guys. Piraveen from Sri Eswari, okay. Okay, manufacturing spices, okay. So B2B as well. Okay, good, very clear. Okay, how about the rest? Okay, right, we have around 43 people in the Zoom call right now and the numbers are increasing. So for the rest who have just joined us, do type on the chat because I want to know if I'm speaking to the right people, okay? So far, it looks good. It looks promising. So I know that this session is catered to you, right? Okay. So for those guys who just joined us, please type your name, your company, okay? What do you do and who do you serve so that I know you guys better, all right? Okay, I know some of you guys are still typing. Okay, so far all of you guys are B2B. I'm so glad to hear that. Except for maybe Cha Thai, right? Cha Thai is a B2C business. Oh, but you're branching out to B2B, right? Okay, that makes sense. No wonder you're here. Okay, very good. Okay, so for those guys who this is the first time you see me, you probably came to the Owner Circle Community Trial Lead program. You have met Raymond, but you have never met me before. I'd like to take around a minute plus 2 minutes to introduce myself so that you get to know me better, right? So my name is Jonathan Craig. I'm the founder of Owner Circle. Malaysia's right now one of the leading business academies serving entrepreneurs and business leaders. Now, besides my role in Owner Circle, I've also took an investment stake and I play the role of a strategic advisor to a software company called Strive that is doing sales management. So the objective of this company is to serve SMBs to make sure they're able to turn their leads into revenue. So it's really a sales management platform. And besides what I do with Owner Circle and Strive, very recently, I've also created a program. Okay, it's a training program. I'm also working on my book, and this book is called The Playbook to Scaling Sales. So the reason why I'm designing this book is to make sure I'm able to help more business owners and startup founders to develop a new generation of sales playbook to scale their sales. So in today's session, I will share with you a lot about this upcoming book that I'm going to launch next year, potentially with Kanyin, right? And that's the reason why my publisher is here. Okay. So let's talk about the current scenario in B2B selling, right? If you know, I'm very sure everyone is very aware of this situation, but the game has kind of changed, right? From COVID that we had last year, this year, the story is all about the various variants that's hitting us. You have alpha, you have beta, you have delta, and then you have gamma. And right now we are seeing that even if we have completed 2 jabs, they're saying that chances are you will still kena COVID. It's just that you won't die so easily. And because of what is happening right now, how many of you think that we will be able to go back to normal soon? Or how many of you think that we will continue to be working from home? Okay, please type on chat. I'd like to hear from you. How many of you think that we'll be able to be back to normal soon? Or how many of you think that we will continue to work from home? Right? If work from home, put that WFH. If normal, just type normal. Okay. Yeah. Arunagri says endemic. Ken says combination. Okay. Now, that is so when you look at the current market, I always analyze in 2 ways. You have your B2C market, and you also have your B2B market, right? And in B2B market, the last 1 year, we all have to recognize this, that the days of cold calling and company visits are over. How many of you agree with that? If you agree with that, type on the chat, agree. In the past, if you want to give a call to Maxis, you still can call them and you say, hey, I want to talk to marketing, and then they will send you to marketing. But today, what is happening is just try calling any one of these corporate companies and they say everyone is working from home, and you say, how do you direct me to marketing? And what they will tell you is, oh, you send to this email, right? And the moment you send to the email, right, the email should get lost on. There's nowhere you can reach that right person that you want to reach. Okay, so the days of cold calling is over, which means this strategy is almost dead. And let alone forget about company visits. Okay, so if you look at what's happening next, one of the first things I firmly believe is work from home among employees, right, which is the B2B businesses that we are trying to serve, is going to be permanent. Okay. LinkedIn was the first to say that they will allow their employees to work from home permanently. And these are the 21 companies that have now allowed their employees to work from home, right? From Google to Microsoft to MasterCard to Twitter to Square, right? And this is not only happening in US, this is also happening in Malaysia. This is one of the latest research by Ernst & Young that shows that 8 out of 10 employees want to continue working from home when the pandemic restriction is. So what does that mean to you? Or what does that mean to us? It means that the way we prospect, the way we present, and the way we close has to change. Okay. Now, why do I say that it has to change? Because last year you already changed. But what I'm trying to tell you is This year, you still have to change. Why? Okay. Now, this is my opinion. Yeah. You guys can share your thoughts on the chat if you don't agree. Last year, the moment the pandemic hit, everyone have to do their meetings over Zoom. Yes? But then, how many of you agree it is not easy to have long meetings and long presentations over Zoom? If you guys agree with that, please type on the chat yes. If you guys agree, back then when you go to company visits, you can talk to them for an hour, but nowadays, to do an hour on Zoom is actually quite challenging. Why? Okay. First, in the past, when you're meeting them in a conference room, you meet face to face. Everyone puts their phone away. But today, when you're meeting over Zoom, sometimes these guys off the camera. Then you feel like you're talking to yourself. Agree or not? And it's so hard to engage over Zoom when your prospect off their camera. Okay, if you guys agree with that, tap on the chat yes, so that I know that you guys, right, we are at the same wavelength, we are facing the same situation. Okay. Second thing, even if they're on the camera, sometimes you feel like they're not talking to you, because while they seems like they're looking at you, right? But then their eyes looking down. So what are they trying to do? They're actually trying to reply some messages and all. Things that used to seem rude when you're doing face-to-face, now over Zoom, most people are doing it. Some of them are probably not even replying the phone. They're probably on another tab. They're probably looking at their WhatsApp chats while you are presenting. So this makes presentation online very, very challenging. Okay, and it's not only the distractions of technology. One of the biggest challenge when you're presenting to an employee or corporate executive who is a parent is, please type on the chat. Okay, what is the biggest challenge when you're presenting to a corporate employee who is a father or a mother who is working from home? Okay, the biggest challenge is their kids, right? Kids making noise. Just a few days ago, I was having this meeting with a friend, right? One meeting, halfway the kid was climbing on him, and he was like so stunned, right? And he told the kid, "I'm having meeting." And the kid understand? No, the kid continue climbing. So it makes the whole meeting so distractive. And if you're still playing with the old rules of the way you conduct your prospecting or presenting or closing, chances are your closing ratios will be highly affected during this period of time. Okay, if you guys agree with me, right, and you understand what I'm trying to say, type on the chat yes, right, so that I know that you guys are feeling it too, right? Okay, so one of the things I firmly believe is this: the rules have changed. The way we do our events, the way we do our meetings, the way we do our presentation has to change. In the past, when you are doing B2B sales, okay, I will show you there's actually 6 stages when it comes to B2B selling. From awareness to interest. Someone got to be aware of you first, then they got to be interested in what you do. If they're interested, then they will start to consider, okay? And then once they consider, they will probably have the intention to want to meet up. And then after that, after you do all your presentation, they will evaluate before they make a decision, okay? So in the past, in the physical world, prospecting and presenting and closing in B2B business is a model where 10% of your time, you spend your time telling them what you do. Then you will spend around 20% of your time trying to qualify and see if there's a need and if you can meet their needs. Okay? Then you'll be spending around 30% presenting the features of what you guys do. Some people do product demos, some people do corporate presentation, right? And then you will probably be spending around 40% of your time trying to close the deal, right? You probably go into objections handling, whether it's the features, whether it's the milestones, whether it's the timeline, or whether it's the price, okay? However, because today the average attention span is shrinking, this means that the way you do your prospecting, the way you do your presentation, and the way you do your closing deals have to change. Okay. Now, I want to introduce you guys a term which I learned during the third year of my entrepreneurship journey, and this was around 2013, right? That was the third year of my entrepreneurship journey. And I attended a training by this guy called Jack Daly. And what Jack Daly said was this: he said, if you really want to grow your sales, you got to find a way to make sure that you can have your people and you are able to systemize the process so that you can create scalability. So one of the things he introduced me was this term called sales playbook, which means this is like a Bible of your of your business. Okay. And he said, every business, if you look at it, those business who have like an army of salespeople, the reason why they're able to grow so fast and they're able to have their people as high performers is because the business leader has already created a sales playbook. Okay. Now, I just want to hear from you guys on the chat here, right? How many of you have a sales playbook in your business? If you have, type there yes. If you don't have, please type there no, right? So if you guys are still wondering what is a sales playbook, a sales playbook is like a book where any new salesperson come into your company, they will be going through this training, they will be going through this process, they will understand your business, they will understand what is the process for them to sell, right? And if there's any objections, they can just refer to this book and they will know how to handle the customer. So that you only need to train them once, then they can go out there with the proven process that you guys have created, they can go out there and sell. Okay? Oh, surprisingly, most of you do not have a sales playbook. Okay? Now, let me share with you something very important. I learned this in 2013 and I developed a sales playbook in my company. Okay? I went through a few days training with this trainer and I thought this was one of the best decisions I've ever made. Okay? And very recently, as I was looking at sales playbooks again, I noticed one thing. Now, have you guys heard of this company called Salesforce? If you have heard of Salesforce, please type on the chat yes. Okay, you have never heard before, please type on the chat no. Okay, oh yes, very good. So Salesforce is the largest sales CRM company in the world, right? And they did a research and they found out that nearly half of sales teams do not have a sales playbook. Okay. However, they also found out something very important. Organizations with very clear sales process in place have 33% more likely to have high performers in their business. Okay. Now, do bear in mind, if your company have a very clear sales process, the chances of your salespeople to become high performers will increase by 33%. Okay, and the next thing the Salesforce also found out, organizations with, if you guys have a clear sales process, if you have a sales playbook, your average win over your competitors, over majority of companies is 50%. How many of you think it's pretty important for you to have a sales playbook? If you agree that this is important, please type on the chat agree. Okay. Because this will be something that you have to continue, you have to start building, right? Start looking at your processes, start looking into your people, start looking at what are the things that allows you guys to automate, right? Now, when I was looking at this very recently, I also recognized something, okay? And this is what I recognize. How many of you agree that the processes of selling online is very different from selling offline? Okay, so because the processes today have changed, we have to prospect online. We have to prospect on LinkedIn, Google, Facebook, okay, and sometimes even YouTube. The way we conduct our entire sales process has changed. And because the sales process has changed, this also means one thing. The roles of our salespeople has also changed. If there's one thing I firmly believe is this: gone are the days, if you are able to build the right process, gone are the days where you need a lot of salespeople in your company. Because the days of a salesperson becoming a product peddler is almost over. The future belongs to salespeople who understand what I mean by consultative selling. Okay, but the only way a salesperson can be a consultant to the client is if you already have the right sales process in place. Okay, and there's one more thing I want to introduce you guys today is this. In the past, 10 years ago when I was building sales teams, I only look at people and process. Back then, I had a team of around 150 salespeople. 60 of them were full-timers, 90 of them were part-timers. But there's one thing I also believe is, in today's world, big teams, big sales teams are an ego of the past. In today's world, there's a lot of sales technology tools that we can use in our business that will allow us to automate certain processes. Because I'm very sure you know, there are certain processes in your business that every day also you got to do one. Example, presentation. Okay, you present to this client, you are going to do the same presentation. Why not look into how can you automate it? Sending emails. There are certain emails. Is that same 3 to 5 emails if the client asks these certain questions? What if you can automate these processes, right? When you're able to combine technology with processes, you create automation. When you're able to combine people and processes with the help of technology, you will create what I call digital scalability. And when you're able to have everything online, one of the biggest benefits, I firmly believe this will happen in the upcoming years, is where you're able to use this data, use machine learning, and create artificial intelligence for you to make your work even easier. And this is what I call the future of sales. Okay. In fact, many companies have already started to apply digitization in their sales process. Okay. And because of this, the big sales teams is now an ego of the past. Okay. Now, in your sales playbook, this is what you need. You need to look into how can you have your people, your processes, and your technology, and what are the new processes involved, so that anyone new that joins your company is able to hold this book, okay, and they are able to kickstart and create sales immediately. Okay, are you guys learning something so far? Right? If you guys are learning something so far, if you are gaining some value, please type on the chat value. Right? I'd love to really get your feedback here. Okay, if you guys are learning something so far, right? If you're getting value, please type on the chat value. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so what are the new processes that is in place in today's world of selling and marketing in the B2B world, right? In my sharing today, I will share with you guys the 5 types of process that I'm now looking at. I build it in my company. I also get my mastermind members to build it in their companies, and some of them have already seen amazing results. And I'll share with you guys how you can implement all these strategies immediately, right? Okay, so what is the new way of sales? The new way is this. You got to be spending 40% of your time online to build trust and rapport, okay? And this can be done through different ways. I'll share with you guys the different ways of getting traffic later on, okay? Then, after you build trust and rapport, you want to be spending around 30% of your time asking questions and listening, okay? And the key here is this. The key in, if there's one thing I've learned in sales over the years, is the best salespeople are the ones who know how to ask the right questions at the right time. Okay? I repeat, the best salespeople are the ones who know how to ask the right questions at the right time. So, as a salesperson, what you want to make sure, whether you're the business leader or is your sales representative, you want to be able to train them to ask the right questions. Okay, and isn't that what consultants do? The reason why these guys are paid so highly, right, or coaches do, is because they know how to ask the right questions at the right time. Okay, and once they're able to know, okay, what are the needs, what are the wants, then you spend around 20% of your time in a sales call to sell benefits and only 10% to reassure and to close. Okay, so how do you do it? So I will share with you a 5-step process. I've looked into how can I simplify it as much as possible so that everyone can gain value here, right? So I'll share with you guys a 5 steps process that you guys can work on to implement immediately right after this session. Okay, so the 5-step process is this. The first step to analyze your sales process is to always ask yourself, where is the traffic? Okay, now when it comes to traffic, there's 3 types of traffic. You have your hot traffic. Hot traffic simply means these guys who are already in your email database. These guys who are already having a relationship with you, right? These guys are the ones where if you have a new offering, it is simply easy for you to just go to your hot traffic and say, hey guys, we have a new offering. But the question later on is, I'm going to share with you guys how to talk to them, right? So the hot traffic is those guys who are already very hot. They have bought from you. They like you so much. And if you were to launch anything, they will be very open to listen to you guys. Okay. The next traffic is what I call the warm traffic. One of the best way, in my opinion, to go for warm traffic is to leverage on partners. Okay. So which means for whatever business that you have, for whatever customers that you want to reach out to, look into how can you create affiliate partnerships or referral partnerships to get them to refer their clients to you so that you guys can work together to serve the clients better. Okay. And for cold traffic means people who have never heard of you before. Personally, I always look at 2 areas. If you guys have pen and paper, please write down. Okay. The first type of cold traffic that I look at is what I call the scrollers. Okay. Scrollers means people who are scrolling on their social media, and while they're scrolling, you have a content or you have an ad that interrupts their pattern. Okay. So these guys are probably on Facebook, or these guys are probably on LinkedIn. Okay. Or probably on Instagram. Okay. Now, I'm not going to use Instagram or TikTok because that one is very unrelated to B2B sales. Okay. I'm going to talk about Facebook and LinkedIn. Now, I just want to hear from you guys. Which one do you think is more effective when it comes to cold traffic? If you want to target the scrollers, Facebook or LinkedIn? Please type on the chat. I'd love to hear your point of views. Which one do you think is better for us to go for B2B sales? Facebook or LinkedIn? Okay, Stuart says, Stuart and Carmen says Facebook. Okay. Noes, Belvi, Adrian says LinkedIn, Ken says depends, Daniel says LinkedIn. Okay, now it really depends. It depends on what kind of business are you trying to reach out. Because when we talk about B2B, right, business to business, the whole spectrum of business is very big. If I give you a triangle, at the top, you have the multinational companies and the GLCs, the government companies, right? And then you have the medium one, right? The big corporations. Then you got the medium-sized company. And then you have the small companies. And then you have the micro-sized companies. Micro means the one-stall fried chicken or the one-stall takoyaki, right? Or even the one-shop bubble tea, right? We call them micro. Small business, I term them as those guys who have around at least $500,000 in sales revenue per year. Okay. Medium size, depending on industry, if it's service, anything above 3 million is medium, right? If it's manufacturing above 20 million, is considered medium. So it really depends. It really depends who are you trying to reach out to. Okay. If you want the micro guys, which is the best platform to reach out to them? Facebook or LinkedIn? Okay, do type on the chat, right? Yeah, definitely. If you want the micro guys, it's Facebook. How about the small businesses? Small businesses, Facebook or LinkedIn? Small businesses, right? Also Facebook. Okay, both Depends. I still think that if I'm going for small businesses, I will still go on Facebook. Okay. Medium size. Medium size. Okay. At medium size, you start to see both already, LinkedIn and Facebook. Okay. And if you go for the GLCs, you will go to MNCs. Where do you go to? If you go to the big corporations, okay, LinkedIn. Okay, let me share with you. A lot of people always think that if you want to reach out to GLCs and MNCs, you have to go on LinkedIn. But do you know something? I did a research recently. I found out, even in US, for those guys who are doing B2B selling, only 44% of their sales come from LinkedIn. Okay. It shows us one thing. LinkedIn is always known as the B2B platform. However, even in Malaysia, not many people are on LinkedIn. Because how many of you know of friends who work in GLCs, they work in MNCs, but they don't really check their LinkedIns? They only check it once a while, probably once a month or sometimes once a year. So what I'm actually trying to tell you is this. Very often when we read certain analysis from US, we have to look into, does it really work in Malaysia? Because in Malaysia, we are still more heavy into Facebook. And this is one of the reasons why one of my growth mastermind members who serve GLCs and MNCs, I told her to go LinkedIn and she tried. And she came back and she told me, she said, but John, surprisingly, these guys who make decisions, right? And these guys who come and approach us, they don't approach us through LinkedIn. They still approach us through Facebook. Okay, so I'm trying to tell you this story because I want you to recognize that it really depends on which size of businesses that you're trying to target. From there, you want to look at what is the best way for you to reach out to them, Facebook or LinkedIn or both, right? And the way to play Facebook game and to play LinkedIn game is totally different. Okay, but today I'm not going to talk about LinkedIn marketing or Facebook marketing because there's a lot of trainers out there who can share with you that. I'll share with you about the overall strategy first. Okay, so you have your scrollers as the first group of cold market. The second market, if you have pen and paper, please write down. The second group are what I call the searchers. Searchers are people who sometimes someone presented to them already and they thought it was a good idea. So they will go online and try to search for that information. Or sometimes their boss will tell them about it, then they will go online and search for the information. So what is the two best platforms for us to look for searches? Okay, do type on the chat. Yeah, Google. Okay, and another one will be YouTube. Okay, please do not ignore the power of YouTube. Recently, one of my growth mastermind members as well, he does IoT, Internet of Things, and he served some of the largest glove companies. He served the airports, MAHB. In fact, if you go to the airport, the toilet, the sensors were all created by him, right? And while we're having discussion, because he has problems about marketing, I was analyzing for him. I asked him one question. I said, how do you reach out to your customers? He said, before COVID, I do cold calling. I will send my salespeople to their factories. I will send my salespeople to their office. But right now, I can't do all this. So I asked him then, how do you reach out to them? And he said, that's the problem. I don't know how to reach out to them. So I asked him, what are you trying to promote here? What are you trying to sell here? And he gave me a very bombastic word. I've never heard of this word before. It's some IoT word. And I said, can you tell me how it works? So I typed. And after I typed, I tried to read an article about it. I still don't understand what it means because it's very technical. So because I don't understand what they wrote, I went on YouTube trying to find someone who simplified it for me. So when I went on YouTube, I saw very few presentations on YouTube. Okay, very few. It's like less than 5. And I saw one that was only 3 minutes. And I clicked on that and I watched. And then I told him, I said, I think I kind of understand. Is this how it works? And he said, yes. He said, how you know? I said, I went on YouTube and then I found this video. And this company did a video about it. After I watched, I understand what he's trying to say. And he said, oh my God, this company is the company in US that I work with, because they are the ones who get all the sales and then they subcon to me to do the work. Okay, now how many of you realize there's a problem here? Okay, when I saw this, then I told him, then don't you realize you should be the one doing the YouTube video and getting the leads rather than being a subcon? Okay, so please do not ignore the power of YouTube as well. Okay, so remember this, in traffic, you have the searches on Google and also YouTube, and you have the scrollers on Facebook and also on LinkedIn. Okay, now after you look into where is the place to get this traffic, the next thing you want to do is this. You want to look into how can you craft the right message to attract this prospective client or this who is already a client to upsell to them, right? And in my book, I actually share there's 5 ways for you to craft a message to attract, okay? But because of time constraint, I'm going to share with you 2 right today, okay? Now, the first way to craft a message is this. Okay, before you craft your message, the first thing you will look at is your offer. You look at whatever that you're trying to offer right now, okay? How can you make it so unique, so different in the marketplace, so that the person who is reading this or watching a short video about it will say, hey, I really want to check it out. Okay? So the first way you can do it is through this method called little known, big difference. Okay, please write down. Little known, big difference. Okay, a little known, big difference method of crafting message is you want to look at what is the 20% that brings in 80% of the results that your customer desires from you. Okay, what is that 20% that brings in 80% of the results? So for example, I just want to rewind, right? Rewind time. I started this presentation telling you this. I said, do you know that for most companies that do well, okay, the reason why their sales can grow so fast is because they have a sales playbook. Okay, and when you have a sales playbook, when you have defined all your processes for salespeople, this is where 33% higher chances of your salespeople to become performers, and you have 50% higher chances of winning a deal compared to your competitors. So that 20% that brings in 80% of the results is your sales playbook. Okay, so this method is called little known, big difference, which is leveraging on the Pareto principle. What is the 20% that brings in 80% of the results? Okay, so for whatever services that you guys are trying to provide, you want to ask yourself, what is that 20% that brings in 80% of the results? And you want to focus your entire message to showcase that you guys know that 20% very, very well. Are you guys learning something so far? Is this valuable to you guys? If it's valuable to you, please type on the chat value, right? Okay. If this little known big difference strategy is something valuable to you, please type on the chat value. Okay. Okay. Now there's one more strategy for you to craft your message. And the strategy is called predicting the future. Okay, so please write down. So the method of writing a predicting the future kind of message is especially powerful during this time because there's a lot change that is happening, not only on a yearly basis, sometimes on a monthly basis, and sometimes on a daily basis. So a lot of people's lifestyle has changed. The way we live have changed. Okay, so predicting the future is where you want to share that. Do you know that because this thing happened, the future is going to look like this, and hence my service is here to provide you this. Okay, so for example, like when I was starting my session, this is what I said. Okay, do you realize with COVID, with the variant, people are going to work from home? And if people are going to work from home, the way we prospect, present, and close has to change. So the future belongs to companies who understand how to use the new processes, combined with the new roles of their people, and combined with the right technology. And this allows you to have automation, scalability, and in future, artificial intelligence in your business. Okay, so this method is called predicting the future. Okay, and these are some of the methods that you guys can use. Why? Because if you can't figure out how to use predicting the future or the little known big difference strategy, chances are you don't have a very good offer and you want to rethink your offer. Okay, if you have a good offer with the right message, total there's actually 5 of them. I'm going to share with you 2 today, because for me to share 5 and to go detail, I probably need around 3 hours. Okay, if you already have an offer that the market wants, all you need is the right message. Okay, how many of you like the predicting the future strategy? If you like that, please type on the chat, love it. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so once you have the right attracting message, then you can then look into how can you bring them to a presentation. Okay, now, how many of you doing this past 1 year plus, you have been attending digital marketing courses, and then you realize that a lot of these digital marketing courses cannot work for you? How many of you have experienced that before? If you have experienced that before, please type on the chat yes. Okay, if it has helped you, please type on the chat, help me. Okay, and I'll share with you why. For those who feel that, hey, I've attended these classes and all, but it doesn't work for me, or I've got these digital marketers to help me, but they can't help me. Okay, the reason is because for most digital marketers, they are in B2C selling. Okay, but B2B selling process is different. B2C selling, there's only 3 steps. Create awareness, create interest, the person can take action. Okay, but B2B is very different. B2B is you create awareness, you create interest, the person who is interested may not be the decision maker. So what happens is he probably got to bring his colleagues together to discuss about it, to consider this idea. Then only they will state their intention to really want to know more. And after you present, then only they will probably evaluate. And after that, if all goes well, then they buy. So the B2B process is way longer compared to B2C. And there's another reason why the normal B2C digital marketing strategies cannot work for B2B. And I'll give you this chart. Okay. First of all, in B2C, most of the time, consumers are seeking for deals and entertainment. So your marketing needs to be very fun. So it's very emotional. But B2B is different. B2B, the client is only focused on 3 things. Can you help me to make more money? Can you help me to save more time? And number 3, do you have the expertise to do the job, to deliver what you promise you can do? Okay. Number 2, in B2C, consumers are driven by emotions. But in B2B, you cannot use all this emotional selling because your client is driven by logic and financial initiatives or financial incentives. Okay. In B2C, customers appreciate education, but most of the time, they appreciate more of entertainment. Okay. Education doesn't necessarily they will buy. But in B2B, your customers want to be educated because very often the guy you are presenting to is not the decision maker. Or even if the decision maker, they also want to know a lot of information before they make a decision. Okay. In B2C, the customers can buy directly. But in B2B, very often, you will be working with they will be working with the managers or the salespeople or the sales representative. Okay. In B2C, Usually, if I want to buy a phone, I just buy a phone. I don't need to ask anyone else. But in B2B selling, very often, there is a chain of decision makers and a chain of command before they decide to buy this phone for the entire company, right? And of course, they won't buy one. They will be buying a lot, bulk purchase, okay? And in B2C, customers are not necessarily looking for a long-term relationship. But in B2B business, very often, if they go into a relationship with you, it is usually for a longer cycle. It's a longer contract. So because of this, the customer's decision making is completely different. If I can just summarize, number one, they're more logical. Number two, you need to add a lot of education. And number three, you need to understand which stage of decision makers that you're talking to, right? So because of this, B2B marketing and B2C marketing is completely different. Yet there are certain fundamentals that are primarily same. Okay? So if you want to attract B2B customers, in B2C, you probably want to create a viral content. But in B2B, you want to give a checklist. Okay? In B2C, you probably want to do an infographic. But if it's a B2B business, you want to create an industry report. Okay, so remember, B2B customers are more educated. B2C, you probably want to create fun videos. But B2B, you want to do educational webinar. Okay, in B2C, you want to do reviews. But in B2B, you don't share testimonials, you share case studies. Okay, in B2C, you do product demos. But in B2B, you give them an ROI calculator to show them how much money and how much time I can save for you. Okay, so these are some of the hooks that if you want to look into how can you attract more quality leads, right? Look at the B2B side and ask yourself, next week, what are some of the new hooks that you can create, okay, to be able to attract more quality leads, okay? How are we doing so far? The time right now is 9:17. How are we doing so far? Are you guys getting value? If you guys are getting value, please type on the chat value, right? Type on the chat value. Okay, good. Okay, so once you're able to attract the right leads, okay, then this is where one of the things I highly encourage everyone to do is this. Start looking at whatever presentations that you've been doing over and over again. How can you create an automated webinar to do that presentation for you, right? And there are a few rules in this presentation. Number one, you want to look at how can you present in less than 18 minutes. Okay, please write down 18 minutes. Okay, and number two, the rule of this presentation is not to close. The reason for you to do this presentation is to create interest, to create consideration, and to get them to move into the stage of intention. Okay, remember this. The presentation is not for them to make a decision, but the presentation is designed for them to have interest, consideration, and to move towards intention. Okay, now, one of the biggest mistakes I noticed about B2B service providers is this. They spend tons of money doing a beautiful website. Okay. Is website important in B2B business? Absolutely, yes. I'm not saying it's not important. Absolutely. Why? Because very often after you do your presentation and all, this person, this prospect will probably Google about you and do research about you guys, right? So if you ask me, website is important. But if there's one thing I want to emphasize is this, please do not confuse branding versus marketing. Okay? Please do not confuse branding versus marketing. Whatever clients that you have, please don't send them to your branding website. Because when you send them to a branding website, you have so many things to click. Learn more, our mission, home, about, why start. If they are confused, they don't know where to start, there's only one button that they will click. And that button is the close button. Okay? So just like what we do in Owner Circle, you will never see us sending you to our ownercircle.asia. Because the biggest mistake most B2B service providers do is this. They educate their buyers on their own website, on their company, their products, and their service. But remember this, the clients are not ready for that. If you want to reach out to your customer, reach out to them with one problem that they have, okay? And you create a microsite to bring them to that website. And that microsite only have one call to action. The call to action is for them to want to meet you or want to attend your webinar, right? Or they want to download something, okay? Then after that, you can continue meeting up with them. So just like, I'm very sure most of you guys have experienced this before, right? You see an ad. The ad says, how to stop being a one-leg kick entrepreneur. Then you go to a landing page. The landing page says this, right? Break away from being a one-leg kick or break away from being a one-man show, right? Then after that, after the webinar, then we close, okay? So can this be applied for bigger companies? Absolutely, if your clients are bigger companies. Now, this is a strategy that was being applied by one of our Growth Mastermind members as well. They do corporate events, right? This is their main website, home, about us, services, works, clientele, credentials, blog, and contact us. But they never send their customers to this website. They send their customers, right? This is a LinkedIn ad, right? And then they send to their customers to a website that is hosted on Webinar Geek. Okay, you can also use Webinar Jam, right? And this is where, if you look at it, this is their ad. This is their attract message. We believe that you and your team has been working hard to get through this crisis. While we are looking to get some happy hours, right? They talk about how can you have a dinner during times of social distancing, right? So the hope is, boss, where's my annual dinner? Then they will lead people to a 10 minutes webinar, okay? This is a tour to the e-annual dinner on how the e-annual dinner works, okay? This webinar is only 10 minutes, okay? Then after that, if people are interested, they sign up for a meeting, okay? And then this is where the founder or the sales representative will be meeting up with the team, right? Now, if there's one thing I want to encourage you guys to look at is this. One more thing you got to add into this process is called filtering. Okay, please write down filtering. After you do presentation, before you meet up with them, always add this layer called filtering. Okay, now after using this 5 steps formula that I share with them, this is what the founder of ACE, right, Above Creative Events said. Previously, okay, this is what she said. A new team member has sealed a deal in only 17 days after boarding on us, with us. She broke the record on the onboarding process that normally took 3 months to see results. Okay, it proves that system shortened the sales process and increased the conversion ratio. Okay, how many of you agree that you need the new process and the new systems for you to close bigger deals, close faster deals, okay, and have shorter sales process? If you think that this is important to you, please type on the chat yes. Okay. And I want you guys to start applying whatever I share with you guys today. Just try it out. Okay. And this is where I mentioned just now. After you present, move them to what I call a qualification area. Okay. Now, in the past, right, most people, what they do is this. They go on a presentation online, right? They present and then they ask questions. They do the qualifying questions. But why? Because today with all these Google Forms, typeform.com, you can already qualify your clients before you meet up with them. Okay, so that before you meet up, you can already know, is this a good client? Is this the client I want to meet up with? Or am I just wasting time? Because how many of you agree? Today, although we no longer travel for meetings, but how many of you have more meetings than ever? You have more Zoom meetings than ever. If you agree with that, please type on the chat, yes. You're having more Zoom meetings than ever. Right? So one of the things I always teach is this. Before you actually have that meeting, do a qualification or what I call a filtering process. Okay, you filter them first. Then only you go for the real meeting. Okay. And once you're able to qualify them and filter, during that process, you ask, there's around 7 types of questions to ask. Okay, don't ask too many questions as well. You don't want them to be filling up a questionnaire as so many questions, so many things to answer you, right? It's like taking a test, right? You just want to have 7 simple questions. From there, you already know that, is this the person I want to meet, right? Or you might even tell them that, hey, I don't think you're a good fit. And when you're able to do this, you're able to have less meetings, more quality meetings, and higher closing ratio. Okay, so this is the 5 simple steps that I use myself. My growth mastermind members are using right now, and it has helped them to have better quality leads, shorter sales process, higher conversion ratio, and also higher average deal size. Okay, now when you're able to do this, there's one more part I also want to emphasize in closing. Once you're able to analyze all this information even before your meeting, this is where you're able to go into a presentation, not presenting, not talking at all, but your job is to ask questions. You practice consultative selling, and from there you get to know their needs, and you present according to their needs. So every meeting, in my opinion, has to be different because everyone's need is different. How many agree with that? Right? So the question is, what are the processes that you're applying? Are your sales representative, or are you guys a product peddler, or are you guys a consultant to solve your client's problem? Okay, the biggest difference is in the process. When you have the right process, you'll stop being a product peddler and you'll start becoming a consultant. And which one do you think people have more respect towards? A product peddler or a consultant? Okay, do type on the chat. Which one do you think people will have more respect towards, a product peddler or towards a consultant? Right? Absolutely, consultant. So I want to let you guys know, for whatever service that you guys are rendering, whether you are doing kitchen equipment, you're not selling these products, or if you're doing corporate gifts, you're not selling corporate gifts. All these are just a ways for you to help your clients to achieve the results they want to achieve. Okay? When you're able to understand what they want, okay, remember, if you have pen and paper, please write this down. Prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. Okay? If you go into a meeting, you straight tell them about your product, you don't diagnose their problem first, you are practicing the wrong way. Okay, and this is a term that is being used in the medical world, right? Prescription before diagnosis is malpractice. Okay, if a doctor gives you a medicine without diagnosing you, they are doing it wrong. So don't you realize when the doctor gives you a medicine, you never ask them, why you give me this medicine? You just take, right? Because you know that this doctor already know your problem. Right? And then when they give you these medicines, right, they'll show you, okay, this is because of that, right? That's why I give you this medicine. That's why you say, okay, I buy without thinking. Okay. I will share with you another case study. This is a case study of this company that does corporate wellness, right? So what they do is they go to companies like Sun Life. They have a few more corporate clients. I forgot the names. They go to all these companies and they are Sanofi Aventis, right? So they help the company to make sure that their employees are more healthy, right? So they once told me this. They said in the past, it takes them 3 months to close a deal. But after I have a session with them, this is what the founder told me. She said, hey, Jonathan, yeah, man, Sophia is his sales representative. He said, Sophia managed to close 3 times larger than the average amount. And she used to, and she even managed to reduce the sales cycle to only 1 month from HR to board approval. How many of you think that this is pretty cool? 3 times larger sales amount. Last time sales cycle 3 months, now just 1 month. Okay. How many think this is pretty cool? If you think this is pretty cool, please type on the chat, cool. Okay. Yeah. So what did he do? He used the exact same process. Okay, and one of the things, one thing about him is he didn't even use the first 2 process, He only used the last 2 process. the filtering, and the consultative selling. Okay, and that allows him to have 3 times larger sales case size and also sales time from 3 months to 1 month. Okay, so guys, I want to imagine if you are able to have better quality leads, shorter sales time, higher conversion ratio, and higher average deal size. Okay, now how many believe that you'll be able to achieve a higher level of success to win more clients, close faster and bigger deals without being affected by social distancing at all, right? If you're able to have all this, how many of you agree that you're able to scale your sales? If you agree with that, please type on the chat yes. Okay. Now, because I only have 1 hour today, and I'd like to see if I can help you guys. Okay. Now, I have no programs to sell today, but one of the things I want to do is I want to be able to help more business owners in the owner circle community, right? But I know one thing for sure. My biggest challenge right now is this. Every industry is unique. Every business is unique, and everyone's problem is unique too. So one of the things I like to extend and offer to you guys is a scaling sales free strategy session, right? So in this strategy session that I will have with you guys who are in B2B business, okay, doing this quick call is a 30 minutes call. I'll be meeting up with you guys one-on-one. On this one-on-one call, I'll deep dive into your sales and marketing process. I will identify some of the quick, simple steps that you can take right now to experience better results. I'll also share with you guys, looking at the scenarios that you guys have. I'll share some proven B2B sales and marketing strategies that is more specific to your business and more specific to your industry. Okay. Now, some of you may ask me, but John, how do you know our industry? We have so many different industries. Okay. Now, I have to let you know, I may not know your industry specifically, but because I run a mastermind in Owner Circle, where I serve 10 companies from 10 different industries. So from there, I'm able to have very close to what is happening in the industry, what works, what doesn't work right now, because this is what we discuss every single month, right? So if you guys feel that this is a session where I'm able to help you guys, right? Come and sign up for this free strategy session. One of the things I also do is after I understand your scenario, I also share with you the exact way that you should be creating your marketing process. I'll share with you some of the ways you can look into your presentation flow and your sales script so that you can close faster and bigger deals, right? So if you guys want to sign this up, I'm going to only have 30 minutes per company, right? So if you came here with your business partner, 30 minutes for both of you. When you go to the form, right, you want to key in both your names, right? So it's 30 minutes per company, right? Now, some of you may be asking that, what's the catch? Okay, what's the catch? Okay, why are you doing this? Okay, it's very simple. Because if assuming you feel that, hey, Jonathan, I really want you to work with me to help me in the long run to build a sales playbook for my business so that I can scale up my sales, I am looking to replicate whatever I've done with my Growth Mastermind members with a first batch of Owner Circle members, right? I want to see whatever I've helped them to do in their B2B sales, how can I help more Owner Circle members to do that, right? So I'm actually looking to run my first exclusive closed door coaching session, which I've done for my Growth Mastermind members, and I'm looking to run one session for the Owner Circle members, right? So how this works is, it will be a 1-month transformation. We will have 4 weekly sessions, 3 hours a week. You'll be able to access whatever sessions that we have conducted for 1 year. Okay. I will give you a professionally produced follow along playbook, right? So when you attend this training, you will go through this workbook, which after you finish the training, it will be your playbook. Okay. There will be a coaching through WhatsApp group with implementation support. And these are all the resources you will get throughout that 1 month, assuming that you're a part of this exclusive closed door coaching session, right? You'll get the attention grabbing message templates. You will get easy to deliver webinar script. I'll share with you guys how do you deliver what you deliver for 1 hour in only 18 minutes, okay? I also share with you guys what are the 7 steps. This is a test and perfected filtering flow. Okay. I also share with you guys the effective and duplicable consultative selling template. And if all your salespeople are no longer product peddlers, all of them are just asking the right questions, knowing how to answer these questions, one thing I can assure you is you'll definitely be able to scale up sales. Okay. I'll also share with you some of the ways I craft follow-up email templates, right? So that you're able to implement all this straight away. I'll also be sharing with you guys how can you integrate all this process with technology for lead management, right? So some of you may be asking me, Jonathan, why is your system called scaling sales? Why not growing sales? Okay, the reason is very simple. Because I used to grow a sales team. Okay, on our fourth year of business, we hit 100 million. We had around 150 salespeople. But there's one thing about sales growth is this. As you continue to grow, your expenses also increases. What is the difference between growing and scaling is this. In scaling, when you leverage on technology, as your revenue continues to increase, your costs will increase, but not like how you are growing your business. Because with technology, things are more scalable. Okay, if I can give you an example is this. Just like the farming industry, what you are saying on the left is how farmers used to grow their farm, right? They have a lot of people. But in today's world, a smart farm, you have less people, but you have higher level of productivity. Imagine if you can do the same for your sales team, right? And there's one more thing you will bear in mind is this. Having a single sales team and having a single marketing team working separately, the days of this structure is over. In today's world, you need to have your sales and marketing team working together as one single revenue function, and their only function is this, right? To grow your sales, okay? To grow your revenue, okay? So this is what I actually share in the playbook of to scaling sales, okay? So if you guys feel that this is what you want to look into, right? You feel that I can help you, right? Go and book a call with me. I've only set the next 2 weeks, we'll be meeting one-on-one, 30 minutes per company to help you guys to look into your current sales situation. And then I'll also look into how can I help you, right? Hope you guys have gained a lot of value from today's session. The time right now is 9:37, okay? Thank you guys so much for being with us on a Friday evening. Look forward to see you guys in the upcoming LIC, Leading in Crisis. And for those who have signed up for a one-on-one strategy session, I'll see you guys in the call. All right? Thank you so much.